Welcome to the SAG-AFTRA Foundation's Conversations at Home program. I'm Jenelle Riley with Variety. Before we're joined by our guest today, I want to let you know that the SAG-AFTRA Foundation is a nonprofit organization that relies entirely on donations to provide emergency assistance and free educational programs to SAG-AFTRA artists. This conversation is made possible thanks to the generosity of our supporters. Over the past year, the foundation has given nearly $7 million in COVID relief to more than 7,000 performers. So if you are a SAG-AFTRA artist and you need help, please ask. And if you can help, please give. Information can be found in the description of this video. Thank you for your support. And now, without further ado, it is my pleasure to introduce actor Javier Bardem of Being the RICARDOS. Thank you so much for being here.
Hello, thank you very much. I'm very honored to be here. It's such a beautiful place to belong to and to be part of.
And you are a SAG Award winner.
Yes, and also, most of all, what I am is an actor, and I know how important it is to support actors that are having trouble, different kind of troubles, unemployment, and also lack of work, and also health problems, and also elderly. Mm-hmm. They have to be very well taken care of, and that's a beautiful thing that you guys do.
Agreed. Because this is an audience of SAG-AFTRA actors, I usually like to start by asking, how did you get your SAG card? And you might have already been fairly established by the time you got yours.
Yeah, I think I got it. You know what? I don't remember the first time because it's kind of complicated coming from Spain. When was the movie? What movie was the one that I had to be SAG actor? But I think it was, I would say, No Country for Old Men. So that was 2006. So that would be like 15 years ago. Wait,
so the movie you got your SAG award, your SAG card on, you then won a SAG award for?
Yeah, it comes with that.
Good news, everyone. Pay those dues.
You pay your dues and then they give you an award.
Yeah. That's amazing. But because you did have such a career before then, I'm curious, what was your first job in front of the camera?
Well, my first job in front of the camera, it was when I was 5 years old.
Wow.
But, that's because my mom, who was an actress, and then my grandparents were actors, and my grandparents were actors. So I come from a long dynasty of acting and performers and directors. My uncle was an amazing, great, very iconic director in Spain. So my mom was doing a TV series at the time. It was 1974, and the kid that had to play a scene got sick. And they were in a rush. You know how these things are. We need a kid. And my mom said, I have mine at home. Go for them. And then they picked me up. And they picked me from school, which I loved. It's so cool when they go, your mom is looking for you. You have to go to the set to shoot a movie. And I go, oh, yeah. And then I went there and I had to smile and be happy, but I cried.
You cried?
So, yeah. So my dramatic actor career began when I was 5 years old.
Wow. I always wonder, for someone who grows up in a family of actors, did you always know you wanted to be an actor, or was it the opposite? Did you sort of rebel? Because no one wants to do what their parents do.
Exactly. Not really. I wasn't crazy about it in the sense that I saw so many trouble going on. My mom and my grandparents, and how hard it is to get a job and how difficult it is to make a living out of it. And my mom is my superhero. My mom, who passed away 5 months ago. And I adore her. She is my superhero because she really raised my brother and sister and me, being an actress in Spain, and in the time where being an actress, it was kind of unheard of, in the sense that it was not a serious profession in a time where Franco regime was in place, or right after, in the transition times. Being a single mother and three kids and an actress, it was kind of being an outlaw.
Yeah.
And on top of that, she had some trouble in getting jobs and getting you know how this is. And I saw my mom, well, basically, I didn't see my mom because she was doing TV series in the morning, then theater in the evening, and then night shows on a club at night. And she would sleep like 2 hours.
Wow.
She had to earn some money to raise us. And those were the times where the things were going in a positive way. But I also saw a good period of years of my mom not being able to get a job, and that phone wasn't ringing.
Yeah.
In the time where phones were placed on a table, right? Not like this thing. And I saw my mom looking at the phone and really getting very anxious about not getting the call that every actor expects to have one day or the other. So with all of that, no, I didn't want to be an actor. I want something more established, more secure. But I start to paint. I start to try different things, painting, drawing. It's not that it's easier that way. I mean, it's hard to make a living out of painting and drawing. But in order to pay my classes, my drawing classes, and my courses of drawing, I began to work as an extra in movies.
Really?
And then little by little, they give me a line, they give me 2 lines, and then little by little, I start to become an actor.
Wow. Did you always hope to work in America, or was that like not even part of the plan?
That's out of the that's like a different planet. No, it never occurred to me that I will ever work outside of Spain. It never occurred to me that I will ever work. Being honest, like, okay, let's try to see what this is all about. And I start to do my little roles, 2 lines here, 3 lines there. And then my mom one day sat me down. I was 18. Sat me down and said, okay, I see that you're going in that pattern, in that path. It's good. But if you're going to do this, you have to really be able to do it with a lot of preparation, a lot of respect towards the craft and towards everyone who's involved in the craft, because this is sacred for us. This is coming from a long dynasty of people, and you have to earn it. You have to earn it. And I was like, okay, mom. And till today, there's no day that I'm shooting or learning a line that I don't recall that, because it's true. You have to earn it.
That's amazing. Well, I think you've more than earned it at this point.
Sometimes now, I guess.
And now you're in Being the Ricardos, which comes to us from the great Aaron Sorkin. I'm curious, how did you sort of find out about the project, and what interested you in playing Desi Arnaz? Because correct me if I'm wrong, I think I've heard that you sort of pursued this role.
Absolutely. I pursued it. I heard about it like years before it was written, when there was a project going on that it may happen. And I knew about Lucille Ball and I Love Lucy, and I knew a little bit about Desi, but I wasn't that familiar because he wasn't that popular in Spain at all. So I started to dig in and investigate, and I fell madly in love with that couple, those people, those amazing comedians, and especially Desi, for what he represented as a man, as a comedian, as a musician, as a foreigner in a foreign country. And how visionary and revolutionary both were, to a point where they were establishing a production office, a production company run by a woman and a foreigner in the 50s in the States, which is like unheard of. So I was very curious to see, okay, who's going to play that? I would love to play it. And then, you know how this is, things takes time, years to develop, to make it real, to happen for real. And when it came to me, I was like, oh yeah, I want to do this. I'm gonna chew it. And before that, I read the script of Aaron Sorkin, and I'm always saying that I was reading the script and I had to stand up and walk around the room and shake my arms and legs, because I felt the electricity of the dialogues, of the situation, of the profile of the characters, of the circumstances, I felt the greatness, the grace of Aaron Sorkin into the writing. And I felt, oh, if I had the chance of saying those lines, that would be a miracle. And it happened. And again, I tried to earn it.
I mean, I think every actor dreams of getting to do a Sorkin monologue, so I understand.
Absolutely.
Obviously, you've played real people before in movies like The Sea Inside and Before Night Falls, but none is instantly recognizable as Desi. I mean, was that intimidating? Where did you even begin?
It is intimidating. It's always intimidating. Everything's intimidating. I don't recall anything that I've done that is not intimidating for one reason or the other. It's like, I'm always saying that I don't especially enjoy performing. For me, it's not easy. It's like, it needs a lot of work and preparation to really be able to feel free and relaxed and able to really create something that is not expected. I'm not saying as a work as a whole, but as a line, as a situation, as a moment in the scene. So you are not anticipated to your own work. You are not anticipated to your own reaction. That takes a lot of work for me. And I guess that's the part that I enjoy, the work of preparation. When I go there and actually start doing it, I don't actually enjoy it that much. It's like, okay, now we have to put this into practice. How we do this? That's independently if it's a real person or not. But when it comes to real people, it's even more intimidating because there is a legacy. There is, for better or worse, for better or worse, I mean, if you're playing Pablo Escobar, there's a legacy of horror and murder and crime and pain that you have to be aware of when you are portraying that person. So it's a different monster. It's a different monster. And when you're playing such an iconic character as Desi, there are so many things to work with. And at the same time, you have to forget all of them.
Right.
Because you dive in, you start to process and digest all the amazing information that you have, in this case, TV shows, recordings, interviews, and even private conversations that his daughter, Lucy, gave to me and shared with me, which were very helpful to hear his real voice without being performing in front of a camera, which basically was more or less the same that we hear when he's on camera, because he was that man. He wasn't playing any character. He was that force of nature. But it's so much to take in that at the same time you can't forget that what you are there and what you've committed to do is to portray the characters in the script. And those characters have those flaws, those virtues, those situations, and then you have to really try to put all you've learned into that without that being a very tight suit that doesn't allow you to express or to be comfortable with. So it's a process of taking in and let it go.
Was there anything that you learned in your research that maybe didn't make its way into the film overtly, like, it's not discussed in a scene, but actually really helped inform your character?
Many things, from his high pitch, in the sense that his voice has like a different high pitch and speed, different than mine, the accent that he will put a little bit higher or stronger when he's in front of the camera, because it was also a ground to make fun of. But mostly from his high heels, he was wearing boots with tacón cubano, which is a high heel. It's called tacón cubano, Cuban heel. That will give you an idea of how much he wanted to show or be the man in the room, rather than being a little bit shorter than his wife or shorter than anybody else. He wants to have the stature that he thinks is the right one to have in order to be able to be respected, loved, and also admitted. Those things, but especially his sense of humor, how he won't get stuck in his own drama, on anybody's drama. He will have his darkness as everybody else. He will have his shade, his shadows. Sometimes he will drink through it. But what he had for sure is the passion, the love for what he did, for what he was, for what he meant, and for his wife, but also a very strong sense of irony that make him and make everybody around him survive to many very, very harsh circumstances. That is the thing that you go, okay, that's the man that I'm portraying. A man that you can throw tons of things to him and he will be able to overcome with irony. Even if it hurts the hell out of it, it will become something to make fun of.
Yeah. What was it like to know you were going to sing on camera? Was that exciting or intimidating, or maybe both?
For me I'm always saying that Rob Marshall, the director of so many great movies, and the one that I was working with when I was doing The Little Mermaid, is the first one who gave me the chance and the trust and the confidence to sing a song. And for that, I will always be very grateful. When the RICARDOS offer came to me, I was doing The Little Mermaid, so I was kind of more aware of my vocal possibilities.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, I'll take it. Oh, I think I can do it. But I didn't know how hard it is to prepare 4 songs in a month and a half when you're not a singer. And also to the pitch, to the height of Desi, which was very, very high, higher than me for sure, when he's singing especially. So singing, when you're not too confident about it, feels like very exposed, very exposed. I highly, deeply admire the musical actors that do musicals every day. I don't know how they do it. It's amazing. So I was very insecure about it, but the more insecure I was, the harder I work on it. And I had great people around me who will teach me how to get there. And actually, it was the part where I had the most fun with.
Really?
The process of recording the song and putting the song into the scene. And I loved it. I loved it.
You didn't have any professional singing because you were going to do a musical at one point.
No, I don't have any professional singing at all. And I don't think I was going to ever do a musical.
Weren't you going to do 9?
Sorry?
Weren't you going to do 9 with Rob?
Well, I met Rob on the audition of 9, and we were talking about making it happen, but finally it didn't happen for different reasons. And I went to the greatest of the greatest, which is Daniel Day-Lewis, who did an amazing job. But yes, he was the first one who heard me singing and said, you can do that. And I was like, really?
Well, if he thinks so, yeah. I mean,
that's right here. If Rob says you can, then you can.
And so you got to work with him on Little Mermaid.
Yes.
Oh, that's so cool.
I loved, and it's coming out in 2023, hopefully. And I loved working with him. It's such a gentleman, beautiful soul, beautiful heart, so well prepared, so loving, so caring, so much in the detail, and such a great actor's director. I mean, he really gives you those little things that makes a difference. Like, boom, oh, wow, I never thought about that. And he's a sweetheart.
I mean, speaking of your directors, Aaron Sorkin has directed 3 movies now. And honestly, I think he keeps getting better as a filmmaker. I really think that this is his best movie as a director. What was he like to work with, especially knowing he was also the screenwriter? Because I know he doesn't like improvising. He likes to keep to his words, which I don't blame him because his words are brilliant.
Well, I would say a couple of things. One is that I think he directs performers through the writing. In other words, his writing is so excellent. It's so rich. It's so deep. It's so full of images and depth and colors and characteristics that gives you already an idea of what you have to perform. Then you go to the set, you have to learn the lines for sure and have it well prepared to really play with it. and being at the same time being understood. And when you're a foreigner, that's hard. But he will never give you or push you to do the text the way he imagined or the way he wrote it no, I never had that feeling. The feeling that I always had is he was always protecting the actors to not rush the lines, because let's say when you're doing a Woody Allen movie, unconsciously you are bringing some kind of anxiety into the role, because that's kind of how it's written in some way. And you have seen so many Woody Allen's characters that you auto-suggest yourself that that's the way to play it. With Aaron Sorkin, the actor comes thinking, I have to speak fast and clear. And that's not at all what he's asking for. What he's asking you is to stop, listen, breathe. Let the other actor take in what you just said. Have a moment. Hear what the other actor is saying to you. Let that being sunk in your system respond with what is written, but also going through a process of why you would say that. So it's the opposite of what the people think. And then, of course, the editing and the pace, he will put it on the movie.
Yeah.
But that's what he's looking for in the actors, I think.
This cast is so wonderful together. It's like all my favorite people. But I specifically want to talk about working with Nicole Kidman, because you have such wonderful chemistry, and it's a tall order to play Lucy and Desi. Forgive me for not knowing. Did you know each other at all beforehand? How did that relationship sort of develop off screen?
I met Nicole in 2004 because she hosted a screening of the movie that I did with Alejandro Amenábar called The Sea Inside, because she worked with him previously in the movie The Others. That's 17 years ago.
Wow.
So, hi, how are you? Nice to meet you. Thank you for doing this. Cut to 16 years later. Hi, how are you? Nice to meet you again. Jesus, you're Lucy, I'm Ricky. Hi. Today's Friday, we're shooting on Monday. How do we do this? And we sat down and we said, okay, we are playing one of the most iconic couples ever. We have to be comfortable with each other. We have to be able to touch, hug, kiss without asking permission or being intimidated by the other. We don't have time for that. We don't have time to rehearse or prepare, because we are just through the COVID situation and the scheduling problems, and we just got here to shoot. And she was all in, I was all in, and we went for it on Monday. And it worked. It worked because we both were well prepared. We did our homework, and we were relating to each other through the characters. Like, it's funny, she said to me at the end of the day in the promotion, hey, Javier, nice to meet you. I didn't see you. It's true. We didn't kind of have the chance to really talk as Nicole and Javier, because there was no time to do such a thing. We were working, learning the lines, working the scenes through the perspective of Lucy and Desi.
So in addition to singing on camera, what ended up being the most challenging scene or moment for you as an actor?
I think there are 4 songs. There's a song called A la Nanita, which is a lullaby in Spanish, and I'm playing the guitar and singing the song. That it was challenging because the voice and the intimacy of the song and the lyrics is so beautiful and it's so subtle. And actually, it's a moment where she sees him on a private moment, having his private moment, and she kind of starts to fall in love for him, because she sees the man, the heart within the man, that is supposed to be this attractive guy that is trying all the attention on the girls. He has a heart, he has a sensitivity that she really appreciate through that song. So that was a very delicate moment that you have to create, not only through the singing, but through the performance. But the most fun of it all, and the trademark of Desi, is Babalu.
Yeah.
That was the moment where playing at zeros with the conga and all this audience for real, it was a moment of joy and also like a big responsibility. Like, okay, you are playing the song that made him be Desi Arnaz, in the sense that as a musician, he brought that song, song to a very wide audience in the States, and it was challenging. It was fun. I rehearsed for a month with a great drum player called Walfredo Reyes, one of the best in the world. But when I was doing it and playing the congas, and I start to bleed because I was hitting it so hard, the congas, that I start to bleed, and I didn't notice. I was so much into it, and they were like, "Are you okay? We stop?" No, we don't stop. We clean it up and we go, because it's the animal instinct, is the guts of Desi in that moment that is playing out loud.
I'm just kind of surprised, because I would assume Cuban Pete would be the hardest song, because it's hard to wrap your mouth around, but it sounds like that one was easy compared to the others.
Yeah, well, Cuban Pete is a very challenging song, because the reason you say it, because he has many different variations into it, but you have the orchestra and you have the body and you have, what happened with Cuban Pete is that I was doing a choreograph through 2 weeks prior to shoot. And I was ready that day to do the choreograph. And then Arnaz said, "No, there's a microphone. There's a standing still microphone and you are on the microphone." I said, "Well, but hold on. The body, what do I do with the body? I've been rehearsing. That's the way it is. That's the way it was." Oh God. So at the same time, I have to put that body of the choreography into one spot without moving too much. And also playing the scene of realizing that my wife actually is getting all the spotlight that I was supposed to get, and starting to realize that I may be the second on the line. So those three things at the same time while you are singing, because even if it's recorded, pre-recorded, you are singing. There are parts in the song that are actually live. Those three things are challenging, but that's part of the job. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's not enjoyable. I didn't especially enjoy any of what I do. It's like, you have to do the job, and you have to do it to a point where people think that you are actually enjoying performing in front of your wife. Well, that's far from the truth. But that's what you do as an actor.
Exactly. Desi is obviously, he's dealing with a lot during the 5 days that this film is set. But at the same time, he just seems so joyous. Mm-hmm. I feel like it would be fun to be Desi Arnaz for a while. Probably more fun than maybe some of the other roles you've played that like are darker. Are you okay? Are you the kind of actor who takes your characters home with you?
No, not at all. I mean, I'm 52 years old. I've been 20 years old as well. And I've gone through my method acting moment, and it's not for me. I mean, it doesn't really, to stay 24 hours in a character doesn't make, in my experience, a performance better. It just makes the obsessive compulsive situation or action stronger. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I could do that when I was 20 and I didn't really have any responsibility around me. I was living on my own, and I'm a father. I have 2 kids. I have a family. I have many things that are way more important than any other role I will play. So I want to go back home and be the most difficult of all the roles you can imagine, which is to be a father. Yeah. I want to be present. I want to be real. I want to be there for them. So that's basically one of the things. But also, I don't know. I've gone to moments where, yes, I've gone too far in one way or the other. I've touched things or memories or situations that maybe I shouldn't have touched, because there's a law that says if you can talk out loud about something, you don't play with that, because that means that it's unresolved, and it it can be so blocking. It can block your performance to, or at least for me, to play with something that still is not digested, it's not solved, it's not, okay, understood. That's a law that I have, as many other laws that I may have, for better or worse. Taking the role too far, I don't know if it makes any difference. For me, it doesn't, in the sense that it can become something about your own exposition, something about your own ego, trying to make people understand that you are better because you've done something that others don't. When the most difficult of it all is to really get the job done while you behave nicely to other people, and make things easier for the rest of the people around you. And that includes people on set and people off set, family, friends. I mean, that's what, I don't know, like, I don't need to really become a psycho killer in my own life to understand the gravitas of Anton Chigurh in No Country for Old Men. I think the joy is to really step in and step out, step in and step out. And as somebody else said, the difference between a crazy person, a mentally ill person, and an actor is that the actor has the ticket back, the way back ticket. Because yes, sometimes you can go to places where you feel the danger, but you always have to go back and get back to yourself.
I almost think it would be freeing to play Anton because he has no remorse or guilt about it. It's just another day.
Absolutely, it's another day in the office, and I was working with things that were obscure and dark, and of course you can be affected by it. I would say most of the times unconsciously. Like unconsciously, people will say, "Hey, man, take it easy," or "Hey, relax," and you go, "Wow, what did I do wrong?" It's not because you think you are bringing the character; it's because there's something in that character that stays with you, and that also will be applied when I was playing Desi. When I was playing Desi, I felt in my time off that it was lighter, funnier, had more grace, felt more, I don't know, attractive. Knowing that I'm not attractive, I'm fine with being what I am. It's fine. And sometimes you can feel more attractive, and sometimes you feel less attractive because you feel in that mood that day, in that moment. When I was playing Desi, I felt like, yeah, I got it. Yeah. And because that's the way you have to feel in order to portray that man. But you don't need to go singing Babalu when you go outside to have dinner with your friends. You know, I don't know. That's at least the way I see it.
Well, it is such a fantastic performance. It's such a wonderful movie. I want to remind everyone watching at home, it's on Amazon now, so you can watch it again and again. Thank you so much for being here and for sharing your experiences with your fellow actors. Thank you so much for all these beautiful questions, and I love to share anything with my fellow actors.